Hey guys, how you guys doing tonight? Hopefully you guys are doing pretty good. Out on my work runs here, and I wanted to, because I was watching a video, and they're talking about it's out there that the NHL is looking to, well, They say, well, we're not looking at expansion quite yet, and we've heard that all before. But with the talk of Houston again being talked about coming in and being an expansion team, it's gonna happen. It is going to happen. It is like the worst kept secret that Houston is going to be team number 33. Now, you can't really, you could maybe expand by one, but I think it'd be kind of crazy to do that. So I think they'll expand by two. So I think you would go from 32 to 34 teams. Now, I'm not sure how they would do that. If they did, if they did Houston one year and then another team like the next year or whatever, I don't know how they would do that. I would think just get it over with and do it. And it's obvious. The two teams that would be teams number 33 and 34 are going to be Houston and Atlanta. Atlanta, of course, I have my own thoughts and feelings toward Atlanta getting a third bite at the apple, because the NHL has been there twice. They have left there twice. And it just, now I know, things I know are a little different now, I think Atlanta is a lot more equipped now to probably be able to handle an expansion team. But again, it's the fact that they've been there twice and left there twice. And this is the thing. The Atlanta Flames lasted 8 years. The Atlanta Thrashers lasted 11 years. So, hypothetically, purely hypothetical, you put another team in Atlanta for a third time, and that team flops again. And you have to turn around and within 10 years again, move them out. How bad of a look does that give the NHL? How much of a black eye do you think that will give the NHL? To be like, God, we gave this market a third opportunity and they struck out again. Maybe we shouldn't go back there. Just a thought here. But people in this video too were also talking about, well, what about Arizona? What about Arizona? People well, Arizona, they deserve another bite at the apple. No. The team that deserves another bite at the apple before Arizona is Quebec. I don't want to hear anything about, people saying, well, Arizona deserves another bite. They don't have a building to play in. This is what nobody seems to understand when it comes to Arizona. They don't have a building. Where are you going to play in Arizona? We've gone through this for years. They wasted almost 30 years in Arizona. For what? For what? For nothing. They never had a secure building. The NHL certainly didn't know how to vet an owner. Let's just give this team to Alex Morello and hope and pray, because that really worked well. Where's Arizona at now? Oh yeah, they're in Utah. So, now I understand. There are fans in Arizona. It's not the fans' fault. It's not the diehard fans' fault that they lost their team. But you know what? It wasn't fans in Quebec's fault either that they lost their team. Why did Quebec lose their team? They lost their team because the Canadian economy stunk. And it still stinks. Which is why I really, as much as I want to see Quebec come back, I do. The way the Canadian dollar, with the value of the Canadian dollar, with as bad as it is in comparison to the U.S., I guess I don't know. I don't know if they can. I don't know if the NHL is looking at that and said, can the Canadian economy support this? Because that's the main reason Quebec left. The Canadian dollar was absolutely horrible. They didn't have a salary cap at the time. We're talking 1995 here. And they wanted a new building. They needed a new building. But they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it at the time. Because, I mean, again, the whole idea, public money is always a touchy subject. But to say that Arizona deserves another crack at it before Quebec, to me, is asinine. Quebec has a ready-made NHL level building. You could put a team right there tomorrow and they'd be ready to go. You could sell out 18,000 season tickets like that instantly in Quebec. Oh, we need to put a team in Arizona. Where are you going to put them? Where? There is no place for them to play in Arizona. Can we not get this through people's heads? Arizona isn't going to work because they don't have a building. Yes, I am getting a little amped up here when I hear Arizona talked about over and over again. Oh, it will work. Really? How did it work for 30 years? It didn't work for 30 damn years. And nobody brings up Quebec. This is the thing. You talk about expansion and all that. Nobody talks about Quebec. I mean, we get Houston. Houston is ready. I think Houston's ready. Houston, I think, would be a great market. Atlanta, I have my reservations about because they've been there and left twice before. Arizona, I'm sorry. Arizona is not going to have a building to play in for at least 5 years. If not 10 years. It's not there. The will is not there for the Arizona politicians to have a team there. There's no place for them to play. There's no owner that is stepping up to say, I want them. And some people say, well, Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, hello, where was he? Where was he this whole time that this whole Arizona saga was happening? He said he didn't want anything to do with them. Then they leave. Now he says, oh, I want a team. You had how long? You had how long to come up? You had how long to say, I want in on that? But he didn't do it. Why didn't he do it? After they leave, he says, oh, I want to bring hockey back to Arizona. You had a hockey team there. And you said you didn't want anything to do with it. I just, mind-blowing to me. And just nobody mentions Quebec. I'm sorry. Quebec, they are the Rodney Dangerfield of hockey. No respect whatsoever. None. No respect whatsoever. Everybody keeps talking. Arizona needs another opportunity. Arizona this, Arizona that, Arizona my backside. Quebec needs a team before Arizona. Before Arizona even thinks about getting a team back, they need to have a building to play in. They need to be willing to pony up $1 billion to reactivate that franchise, plus at least probably $1 billion to build a building and an entertainment district. I don't see the politicians in Arizona willing to pony up $2 billion for this to happen. At least not anytime soon. Could that happen 5 years down the line? Maybe. 2030? Maybe. Not right now. And it just, I mean, yeah, I get a little animated. I get a little animated when I continue to hear about Arizona, about expansion. Yes, Houston, I think, is ready. Again, my reservations are there about Atlanta, but enough with Arizona. You had a team there for over almost 30 years. Yes, the fans were screwed that entire time because they never had competent ownership. They also never had a steady building to play in. So, enough of the Arizona talk. Let's talk Quebec. You want to talk about an expansion team? Let's talk Quebec. Quebec deserves a team way more than Arizona does. So, can we lay off the whole Arizona thing until Quebec gets a team first? Quebec gets an expansion team, then I'll be fine with Arizona getting another one. Quebec first, though. Quebec gets a team back before Arizona does. Because Quebec has the building to play in. They have the fan base there. They will sell out those games. They sold out those games even when they knew they were leaving. They were still selling out Les Colisées. 15,000 people were still going to those games even when they knew they were leaving. But again, that wasn't Quebec's fault. That wasn't the fans' fault. That was the Canadian dollar being in the toilet, and they couldn't work out a deal for an arena, or there was no salary cap, because it was that time that the salaries were really starting to shoot up. And so and to me now, with the talk of Atlanta getting that third opportunity, all while Quebec still is waiting. And of course, all the talk of Arizona needs a second chance. No, Arizona doesn't need a second chance before Quebec. Call me crazy, Atlanta doesn't need a third chance before Quebec. But, it's gonna be Houston and Atlanta. They're gonna be teams 33 and 34. Hopefully, if the NHL does go to 36, one of those teams needs to be Quebec. Me personally, I would rather have those teams 35 and 36 be Quebec and Hartford, but they'll never put a team back in Hartford. Again, what does Hartford have? They don't have a building to play in. They would not have a building to play in. So, Hartford is pretty much, DOA, because there's no building for them to play in. Quebec has a building ready to go. All you have to do, you give them an expansion team, they're ready. You put them in that arena, you start selling season tickets. They sell out season tickets in 5 minutes, and you've got a ready-made team all ready to go in Quebec. Arizona's not going to have that for years to come. At least 5 years. So, enough of Arizona. We want Arizona to get another crack at it. No, Quebec deserves it first. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my rant on Arizona, because yes, I do get a little animated about how everybody thinks Arizona is not a viable market at this point. They weren't a viable market for the last 30 plus years. They didn't have competent ownership. They didn't have a building to ever play in. And again, that's not the fans' fault. It's not the fans' fault. The business models never worked. They never had a building. They never turned a profit. Not 1 year that they were in Arizona. Never made money. Quebec, up until they left, Quebec never lost money. Quebec was always in the black when it came to a money-making franchise. Arizona was never in the black. So, give that a little thought. So, but let me know in the comments what you think about my little rant. And yes, I get a little bit like that because I do. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about things like this. And when I keep hearing the topic of Arizona needs another shot at it, it makes my blood pressure just skyrocket because it didn't work for 30 years. What the hell is going to make it work? What's going to make it work now? Because they're a big market. Yeah, because that really worked for the last 30 years there. Just because you're a big market doesn't mean you're going to last. Doesn't mean you're going to work. I mean, look at Atlanta. Atlanta's one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the entire country. They had two NHL teams and they both failed. So, being a big market isn't all it's cracked up to be. You need to have a rabid fan base. You need to have a ready-made fan base, and Quebec has that. But let me know in the comments. Let me know your opinions. Like this video. Comment on the video. Comment as you see fit. Share the video. Share this video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel. That would be phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, even if just to watch this video and literally watch my face turn red, talking about the whole idea of Arizona getting another team back, hell, that right there should maybe be worth a good number of views, and maybe a subscribe, because I am very passionate when it comes to stuff like this, and just the whole topic of Arizona and getting another team again before Quebec. No. To me, just no. So let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know your opinions. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I will see you guys later.